Good evening and welcome inside legendary and historic Phil Welch Stadium for quite the game we have on tap tonight between your present 2025 St. Joseph Mustangs and some familiar faces of the past making their way inside the gates here at Phil Welch, the St. Joseph Mustangs alumni for the traditional and yearly alumni game here at Phil Welch. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Truman Griesel. Alongside with me tonight, Jackson Phelps. It's quite the night on tap we have on hand. Our current roster of Mustangs versus those guys that you watched winning those 9 Mink League championships of the past. And Jackson, nothing special like it, getting to play, the current roster. They want to beat these older guys that think that these older guys might beat these younger guys. And it should be a fun, exciting matchup. Lots of connections in that both dugouts that we've seen most, if not all, of those guys in that third base dugout over in that first base dugout at one time or another in the past since the Mustangs became a thing in 2009. But quite the event we have on tap tonight.
It really is, Truman, and you really love to see it. Some of those familiar faces like you were mentioning, just the emotion behind it. Some of these guys haven't played in Phil Welch officially for the Mustangs or the teams in the past in quite a bit. And, it's really cool, a wholesome moment to see them back home. You see a bunch of purple shirts in the stands as well. Their families are all out here enjoying a nice night at Phil Welch. And like you mentioned, just the culture still remains intact. Doesn't matter what team you played for back in the day, but if you played here in St. Joe, everyone knows each other, in each other's dugouts, chirping it up, having some good conversations. I was over by the Alumni dugout, and everyone's just in a good mood. I mean, last couple of nights with the Mink League games, it's always super competitive, and nonetheless, it'll be competitive tonight once they step on the field. But before the game, you really love to see it back home inside Phil Welch. Everyone's in a good mood, ready for some nice baseball. But a really cool moment to see, and some familiar names from the past that we have gotten to notice, Truman. Just a really good night here for some Mustangs and Mustangs past baseball.
Coaches just met with the umpires as your current Mustangs lineup about to get announced tonight. Sam Pitts will take the hill, his second start of the season. Mustangs looking to finish off and finish the homestand at 3-1. Took a loss Wednesday night, but then back-to-back convincing wins over Mink League opponents brought into this fun Saturday evening affair with fireworks to follow. We'll step aside and be back with the national anthem and first pitch next. So we get a look tonight at your Mustangs starter. Sam Pitts, the southpaw, gets his second start of the season. Pitched 4 innings, gave up 5 runs, but also struck out 5 and walked 2 in his opening start last Friday night. Did get bit by the long ball, gave up 2 homers. Looks to turn that around in his second start. Last year for the Mustangs, he appeared in 11 games, but started 5 of them, was 3-0 in 40 1/3 innings, a 1.12 ERA and a .77 whip with 32 strikeouts to 8 walks.
You know, Pitts, like you mentioned, just a guy who's been really consistent, wants to throw those strikes. I mean, those runs that he gave up in his first start, I mean, those are going to come to pass. You're going to have games where, those runs are going to get put on the board, but as long as you keep on throwing strikes, which is Pitts' his specialty, just putting it over the zone and trusting that defense. He does it really well. Had a surplus of strikeouts as well, as you mentioned, and just a guy tonight, in an alumni game, not as serious as a Mink League game as some would say, but Pitts, it's a good opportunity for him to kind of shake off those runs that he gave off in his last start and just get some good reps against some past hitters who have definitely seen some balls like him in the past. So Pitts, a good chance for him to get a good bounce back after his first start.
Take a look at the lineup that the Alumni will put out there for the start. Their first 9 batters. Leading off will be Brady Holden, Josh Majevich in the 2-hole, Ryan Hook in the 3-hole, Johnny Coy and Ike Book anchor the heart of the order. Then Dale Wheeler, Cole Slabowski, TJ Daly, and Brock Chafin round out the Alumni starting 9. These past guys, these Alumni, not going to take this game lightly. They're wanting to come in here and show these young bucks what it's all about to be Mustangs alum. It's a beautiful night. The rain has passed here in St. Joseph early this morning. Downpoured for a while, but the tarp is off the field. The sun is shining, and we've got Mustangs baseball on the first Saturday of June here in St. Joseph, Missouri. Pitts is ready. Holden's ready. The umpire's ready. And the first pitch of the night is down in the dirt for ball 1. Now Pitts might want trying asserting his aggressiveness there on the mound. Runs that one inside and under the chin. But Holden is in control now, 2-0.
Pitts just trying to regain that control, just trying to get those strikes across the zone like I mentioned. Once he gets in that groove, Pitts has been hard to stop on the offense, just has to regain it.
That one clips the outside of the zone and keeps it 3-1. 24 Alumni were able to make it back here tonight for the game. Should see, if not all of them, at some point in this game. These are the types of games where you give everyone a chance, let it have fun, retire for a while, and Holden starts us off with a 5-pitch walk.
Good disciplined at bat from Holden. I mean, just Pitts didn't really give him anything too good to hit, so he just said, you know what, I'm just going to watch every single pitch go by, and ends up on first base, and a good start for the Alumni here.
Josh Majevich digs in. Coach on the current Mustangs, but like Johnny Coy, takes his talents to the third base dugout.
He was chirping some of his own players up as they were walking over to the third base dugout. You love to see it. I mean, motion's not running too high in here. Very loose and laid-back game, and Coy's not going to let any of his players get the best of him tonight.
Pitts had great command in his first start. Just those 2 walks occurred in his last inning of work, and that was an inning where he ended up giving up a grand slam after walking to and hitting a batter. He gets ahead of Majevich here, 1-2. That one will be grounded off Majevich and called a foul. He was trying to convince the home plate umpire it didn't hit him.
It's one of those moments, Truman, up here in the booth, I could kind of hear a little, it wasn't a thwack, wasn't a thud, it was I don't even know what to say, little clip. You could barely hear the little clip off of Majevich.
Kind of surprised they didn't let the Alumni, break out the Beezer bats. Or, maybe make it harder for the current player. Let the Alumni use the aluminum bats. But everyone's using wood tonight. And the first strikeout of the night. The first victim is Josh Majevich. And it's 1 out here in the first. And the fans are happy as it's an early taco time strikeout here tonight.
Fans get what they want, walking home with free tacos tonight. And a nice strikeout nonetheless for Mr. Pitts up there. Got him in a 2-strike count and really fooled him on the off-speed to send him back to the dugout.
That'll be Ryan Hook stepping in. Pitts had 5 strikeouts in his first start. Tied for second in the group of returning pitchers with 32 from last year. Pitts also had 25 at this past spring at Cochise Community College. He now has Hook down here 0-2 looking for his second punch out. Instead, Hook lines one into left field and it will drop in front of McCollum. That's a 1-out single to put runners at first and second for the Mustangs manager, Johnny Coy.
Beautiful piece of hitting from Hook. I mean, in a 2-strike count, had to stay a little disciplined and ready. Pitch is going to give him anything close, and took it high and in and drove it right into left field, and that'll move, holding up to second base. Beautiful piece, very disciplined at bat from Hook.
Pitts gave up 3 hits in his opening start, and that one from Coy is lined. McCollum will let it drop in front of him. Here comes to the plate, Holden, throw not in time. And it's an RBI single from manager Johnny Coy to put the Alumni on top 1-0.
Heard the oohs and ahs from the crowd, and we get to see Coy take some batting practice with the Mustangs before every single game, and he does have some pop in that bat, and he showed bits. He's not playing around today, and plates the first run for the Alumni, and only 1 out now on the wild throw. That'll move both the runners into scoring position.
Coy and Hook move up the extra 90 feet on the errant throw from Mosh, trying to get the quick relay. Now the Alumni have a golden opportunity, but first pitch swung on from Ike Book is popped right to Chris Coy for the second out.
All right, here for Pitts. The most ideal situation, leave these guys stranded, but the way these Alumni have been hitting off of them, I've already timed them up pretty well, and looking to continue this offensive explosion with these last couple of hits. Bring both these runners home.
Surprised Mustangs defense hasn't gone to the full pull for every hitter. A lot of these guys just looking to pull the ball. Like to play straight up on all of them so far, as no Dale Wheeler steps in. Wheeler looking to come through for the Alumni. Put up a 3-spot here in the first with a base hit to the outfield. Pitts did give up a run in the first in that start last Friday. It was on a solo home run. Now here today he's given up a run on a walk and 2 singles. Now falls behind Wheeler, 3-1.
A 3-ball count here for these Alumni hitters, and Pitts Still messing around with those fastballs, trying to put them on the outside parts of the plate. Just haven't been hitting here in this first inning.
You know, there's always something about trying to strike out the older guys and trying to get too cute. Is right there. It's another walk. Second walk of the inning allowed by Pitts, and now the bases are juiced for Cole Slablowski.
Look at this approach from Slablowski. No batting gloves, an old school approach, and really love to see it. He's out here ready to grip it. No gloves, and he's got a good opportunity here to drive some in for the Alumni with the bases juiced.
The old term of raw dogging it right now. Talked about that old school, just no batting gloves. Gotta have some strong hands, I feel.
Especially with these wood bats. I mean, those things can be heavy enough, and most of those over there in the third base dugout didn't really see too many grips on them. Slablowski's just really trying to get a good piece here. Down 0-2. You know those metal bats we swing, they have some good lizard skins on them and whatever you call them. Enhance the grip.
0-2 from Pitts. In there for strike three. Pitts leaves them loaded in the first, but the Alumni strike for one. They strand three, two walks and 2 hits in the inning. We head to the bottom of the first. Your Mustangs are coming up to the plate. So get a look at the Mustangs lineup here tonight. Down 1-0 early here in the bottom of the first. Chris Coy at short in the leadoff spot, followed by Logan Miller, Braden Lukehart, Jack Moss, Justin George, Truman Bodenhausen in the sixth hole, and then to round out the order, Tyler Gundelfinger, Parker Griffith, and Trevor McCollum, and they will face Kyle Jackson. At least gets the start here for the Alumni. Chris Coy in his first game in the leadoff spot. And he's first pitch swinging, fouling one away. Coy, this is his 6th game and his 5th start. He's 5 for 17. Has 4 runs driven in, 2 walks, 2 stolen bases, and also scored 5 runs. Still looking for that first extra base hit.
Yeah.
But off to a nice, solid start this season.
You know, a very productive 1-for-5 night last night. A 2 RBI single back in the first inning. Hit it through that short third gap into left field and jolted the Mustangs offense to a nice win yesterday.
Jackson ahead of him now, 1-2. Jackson with the old-timer wind-up over the head. Don't see that much now in this day and age of baseball, especially with all the analytics, you know, keeping everything intact and that string of energy going from the top of your body to the bottom. Not very many over-the-head wind-ups nowadays in modern baseball.
Gotta love it, having the old guys come in here, showing them how it's really done, playing the game the old way. Like you mentioned, that could fool this timing of these Mustangs hitters.
Weakly grounded back to Jackson, bobbles it for a sec, but is able to recover and throws out Coy for the first out of the game.
Just didn't get any part of the bat that Coy was wanting there, just kind of squibbled it off the inside, kind of near the bottom part of the bat, and just put it straight into the dirt. But a nice play by Jackson, just stuck with it all the way through, and productive one out here for the Alumni.
Now it'll be Logan Miller in his 5th start of the season. Miller had a very nice night last week, 2 for 5 with a walk and 3 runs scored. Very productive night from Miller. Leads the team with 7 runs scored in this early season. 6 for 17. Also like Coy, looking for that first extra base hit, but has also drawn 2 walks and stolen a pair of bags. So that one's skied down the right field line. It takes hook back into the corner, and it's off the wall. There is the first extra base hit. The announcer jinx benefits the Mustangs. It's a 1-out double from Logan Miller.
Announcer jinx, nice one, Truman. Right off the words you said, and you know, Miller put it right into that gap near the Yellow Frog Graphics party deck. Hook just really couldn't get over there, and that's the other thing with these old guys coming in here. Don't have the speed as these college kids, and Miller took advantage of that and high-end overing fly ball. Hook just couldn't get over there in time, and the Mustangs, early runner in scoring position.
And for the record, we're not calling them old.
Not
you know,
at
all. They just are the more experienced other team. But you know, just a way to differentiate. We're not ageism here. These guys are still in their prime. It was a tough play for Hook, as that one just kept drifting back on him as Miller got all of that one. Now stands in scoring position for Braden Lukehart. Lukehart in his 5th start. Slow start for him as he's 1 for 11. However, he's capitalized with 5 walks and 3 hit by pitches and has scored 8 runs. He also leads the team and tied for that lead with 4 stolen bases. So while Lukehart has not tallied a big number of hits, he's found other ways to be productive by getting on base and scoring runs for the Mustangs. And on cue, he's now in a 3-1 count, looking to draw his 6th walk of the year. Lukehart last night was 0 for 2, but what you know, drew 3 walks and scored 2 runs.
Sometimes that's all you can ask for out of a ball player like Lukehart. Once again, one of the more reliable guys on the base path. He's got some speed on him and was able to show that off with a couple runs and he put in, but now in a 3-2 count, doing the same thing he did last night.
Full count offering. It's going to hit him. And he'll take first on the hit by a pitch. And those are always ones where when you have 3 balls on you, you really don't want to get hit by the pitch. You'd rather avoid that and not take the sting. But nonetheless, Lukehart will take first, and it'll be first and second for the cleanup hitter tonight, Jack Mosh.
Yeah, once again, left-handed hitters on those 3-2 counts coming on the righties. They want to play around in the zone. Can't give them anything too cheap. And right there, Jackson was just trying to put it on the inside half. Just clipped Lukehart, but a good at-bat from Lukehart once again, getting into those 3-ball counts.
Mosh also in his 5th start takes a big rip. The first pitch he sees from Kyle Jackson. Mosh 4 for 15, leads this team with 7 walks. Been one of the biggest strengths for this Mustangs team 6 games into this young season is their plate discipline and their ability to work those free passes, work counts, and get those opponent pitch counts skyrocketing.
Mosh, a nice double last night. Right here would be an ideal situation for the same exact thing. He's got Miller and Lucartons on the base paths.
Mosh, 1 extra base hit on the air. It was a double. Both last night, like Jackson said, and also on opening night. That one grounded into the right side and threw into right field. Hook is up with it, and he'll keep Miller at third. Thought about going as the ball got past Daly behind the plate, but Jackson there to back it up. And now the bases are loaded for Justin George.
Beautiful piece of hitting there from Mosh, and a nice job by Lucart, kind of giving a little bit of a deke, getting out of the way, and that really fooled Mijiak over there at second base. Just couldn't get over there in time, and Justin George in a nice situation. An opportunity here for him with only 1 out on the board.
George only in his 4th start, and his 4th game played this season. Had the night off last night. Back in that starting lineup today at first base. 2 for 10, has a double and 2 RBIs, and also has drawn 2 walks, looking to drive in a run here with the bases loaded and 1 out in the bottom of the 1st.
One for 2 in his last appearance. Those 2 walks came from the game against the Renegades earlier this week, and George really likes to work those counts, those 3-2, 3-1 spots, and he's up 1-0 here early on Jackson.
George recently featured on the first episode of Reading with Rally, which is up now on the St. Joseph Mustangs YouTube channel if you haven't checked it out, him and Parker Griffith. Reading the kids Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss.
All-time classic and a good book. I mean, we all, Aiden in here, you read Green Eggs and Ham growing up as a kid? Good man.
Producer Aiden shaking his head.
Good man.
Shaking his head, yes. Nodding his head, I guess. Nodding his head, shaking his head. I feel like 2 different things. You just say nodding for yes and shaking for no. Meanwhile, George has now worked the count 3-1 in his favor. I remember vividly in kindergarten we read that book, and then we actually made Green Eggs and Ham by putting green food coloring in the eggs.
Okay.
Are you a big ham person?
You know, I'm more of a, talking like, deli meat and Thanksgiving, I'm more of a turkey guy myself. Always have been as a kid. Now, I'm not saying if you got a honey smoked ham on the table, I'm going to eat it, but I'm more of a turkey guy. What about yourself?
Yeah, turkey is definitely where it's at. Majority of my family does not prefer ham, so fortunately don't have ham that often. George thought it was ball 4, instead takes strike 3 right on the inside corner. It'll be the 2nd out of the inning for Truman Bodenhausen.
That's a tough pitch to watch by for George. I mean, righty-righty matchup, put it on the inside half. A great pitch from Jackson. George was kind of giving a look back, kind of debating that it was more on the inside half of that batter's box, but just clipped the outside of the plate for the 2nd out.
Bodenhausen in his 5th start. Swings it at the first pitch he sees from Jackson and fouls it off. Bodenhausen 5 for 15 with 5 RBIs. He's also scored 3 runs, walked twice, and had a double. Mustangs in their white cutoff jerseys tonight. A lot of the guys electing to go no undershirt and really show off the guns here in early June.
Gotta love to see
the old saying, sun's out, guns out.
Having a little fun here on Alumni night. Bodenhausen, 2 for 4 back in the game against the Renegades. 3 RBIs that night. Really came alive in the 7th and 8th inning for the Mustangs, propelling that run rule victory.
Don't see very many cut off jerseys nowadays, those two-piece jerseys where you wear the undershirt, t-shirt underneath. Don't
really
see very many of those. You know, back in the day, they were very popular. Royals had one in the early 2000s. Think of the Reds having one, Mariners having one. Bodenhausen's going to slap one into center field and down. Miller's in to score. Luke Hart'll score. Mosh over to third, and the Mustangs take a 2-1 lead.
Beautiful piece of hitting from Bodenhausen. Took the outside pitch right to the opposite side of the field. And with Miller and Lucart on the base paths, like I mentioned, just an easy base hit like that will score both of them. Quality at bat there from Bodenhausen, and he's continuing his dominant performances here in these last two games.
Now ties the team lead with 7 RBIs. Now Tyler Gundelfinger steps in, and there goes Bodenhausen. And he will be in there standing with his 3rd stolen base of the season.
Mustangs working the base paths once again, and now Gundelfinger with not just ducks on the ponds at 1st and 3rd. He's got 2 runners in scoring position now. 2 outs. Gundelfinger, only 2 hits on the year, looking to keep the improvements going in the batting stance.
Gundelfinger in his 5th start, 2 for 12, but has driven in 4 runs and walked 3 times. Last night was 0 for 4, but reached on a walk and an error, and also scored a run in that 11-4 win over the Chillicothe Mudcats. Down in the count here, 1-2 to Kyle Jackson. Jackson trying to get out of it and limit the damage. Gundelfinger reaches and pokes one to Wheeler at 3rd. He'll throw across to Coy, and Coy dropped the ball, and Gundelfinger's going to be safe. Mosh scores, and it's now 3-1 Mustangs on the E3.
I mean, just last night, Gundelfinger has a way with those errors, getting with reaching on base back in the 4th, reached on an E5. And same thing here, gets on first. Head manager Johnny Coy just couldn't glove that one at first. And that'll bring in one more.
Gundelfinger reaching first and poking a little fun at his manager. You know, it's tough to have to get low right there. Now they try to backpick Gundelfinger. This was a good throw from Wheeler, good fielding position. Just a little too low, and Coy wasn't able to handle it. The inning stays alive for Parker Griffith. Griffith now flies one deep right field. Back is Hook. And onto the warning track. He'll make the grab to retire the side. But not before 3 come across for the Mustangs on 3 hits, a hit by pitch and an error. We head to the 2nd. It's 3-1 Mustangs. Mustangs put up a 3 spot in the bottom of the first to take a 3-1 lead over the Alumni. As we had a look at tonight's Mustangs defensive lineup from left to right in the outfield: Trevor McCollum, Braden Lukehart, and Logan Miller. Then in the infield, it's Jack Mosh in the hot corner, Chris Coy and Truman Bodenhausen manning the middle, and Justin George over at first. And then your battery tonight will be Sam Pitts and Parker Griffith to start. Alumni sent 7 to the plate in the first, but could only capitalize with 1 run on the Johnny Coy RBI single. It's TJ Daly steps into the box to get us started here in the second. Daly is the catcher tonight for the Alumni. It's quickly ahead 2-0. Wonder what the T and the J stand for, because I feel like I've met people that, you know, they have a name like TJ or CJ, or, you know, where it's like those 2 letters stand for your first and middle name. But I've also met people who met a kid, you know, graduated with him, named CJ, and it just called him that because his name was Carter Jackson. We just call him CJ. Or, you know, you have the, you know, CJs where you're just the junior. So that's what, you know, they call you, you know, CJ or TJ. I feel like there's three different ways you can, you know, do the double letter as the name. As TJ will ground this one over to Bodenhausen, who fires over to George at first. That's a leadoff ground out here in the second for the Alumni.
You know, you really can do whatever with those types of situations with those names. Didn't really have too many friends growing up where the names really had a big, you know, gap like that where it had 2 different initials in the same name. Can't really remember any off the top of my head.
Now it'll be Brock Chafin rounding out this Alumni order. Pitts quickly has him down.
That was a good spot from Pitts on the outside part. Chafin didn't want anything to do with it. But a good spot and a good frame by Griffith.
That one again grounded to the right side. Bodenhausen has it just on the outfield grass. And he'll toss it over to George once again, and it's 2 quick groundouts here in the second.
Bodenhausen getting his reps over there at second base to start the second inning and doing a good job, the footwork, maintaining good fielder's etiquette and making some nice throws over to Justin George. You love to see it. This Mustangs defense really been reliable for these pitchers this season. We've seen some fantastic plays. Not saying those were too fantastic, but you love to have a good, reliable defense behind you.
Now we have our first pinch hitter of the night, Frankie Alvarez. Pinch hits here for Brady Holden. See this a lot tonight. You know, a lot of different guys just trying to get in, have some fun on the diamond. Meanwhile, Pitts continues to shove here to start the second. A much improved second inning than we saw in the first. Alvarez stays alive by fouling one back.
And like you mentioned earlier, Truman, Alvarez in this spot, you know, you're going to see a lot of subs here in the Alumni game, getting to see everyone here. Just make all the fans happy, see some of their favorites from the past.
Alvarez lines one, and that will get into left field past Mosh, and it'll be a 2-out single here for the Alumni to bring up Will Dryberg.
And you know, Alvarez there, these guys are really liking those pull situations. Like you said, the defense probably would want to come over into more of a pull situation. But a nice piece from Alvarez. Pitts just hasn't been reliable to those right-handed hitters on the inside half. They've been really working on him, taking those into left field.
Dryberg currently plays for the Kansas City Monarchs of the Kansas City Amateur Baseball Association, so it's already his third time here out at Phil Welch, as the Mustangs have already taken on the Monarchs twice. And we'll see them again as we head throughout this summer.
A familiar spot here for Dryberg. He's had a surplus of at-bats here at Phil Welch, so not an unfamiliar territory by any means. 2 outs on the board. Pitts been moving through this lineup so far.
Dryberg was 1 for 1 against Pitts the first time he faced him as he grounds that one. Coy has it deep in the hole. It's short, and it'll be late. Not in time as Dryberg beats it out. And now back-to-back singles here with 2 outs.
Nice piece there by Dryberg. Didn't do too much with it, but a nice dribbler. And over at third, Mosh couldn't really get over there in time.
Now it'll be Luke Powers stepping in. Powers pinch hitting for Ryan Hook. Hook was 1 for 1. He singled, was left stranded at third in that opening inning. Pitts again has his third consecutive batter down. 2 strikes. See if Powers can replicate the success of the previous 2 at-bats of getting a 2-out hit here off Pitts. Runner takes off for third. Alvarez was looking to steal a base there on Griffith. Powers fouled it off. The 0-2 from Pitts. Rounded towards the left side. Alvarez tried to get it. Coy's just going to have to eat it again as he fields it deep in the hole. And now after 2 quick ground outs, the bases are now loaded.
Love to see from these Alumni hitters. Again, just pulling it towards that third base shortstop side. And Coy just has back-to-back opportunities. Just can't do anything with it as it is put deep and far. And these Alumni hitters hustling out of the box all the way down to first and just haven't been able to give these Mustangs any easy plays here. Now 2 outs, bases loaded.
Now one of the more relatively familiar faces here pinch hitting. Noah Bodenhausen steps into the box. Bodenhausen had his time with the Mustangs. Led the team to their 9th Mink League title last year. Wonder if he won't try to poke one to that right side over towards his brother Truman. See if his brother's a little nervous. Instead, he pulls it. Mosh boots it at first, but is able to stay with it and fire across to George and get out of the jam. Alumni get 3 2-out singles, but can't capitalize. We head to the bottom of the second. Mustangs still lead 3-1. Braden Berry takes over on the mound for the Alumni for Kyle Jackson, who in one inning gave up 3 runs on 3 hits. 2 earned, though. Only 2 of those runs will be earned, and he'll give way to Braden Berry as Trevor McCollum greets him, rounding out this Mustangs order before the top of the lineup returns. McCollum, in his 5th start, was a late scratch from yesterday's ball game. 3 for 10 with 5 walks and 3 stolen bases on this young season.
McCollum against the Renegades, 1 for 2, drew 3 walks and had a stolen base. And also came in to score in the 5th inning.
McCollum had 26 hits and 96 at-bats last year in 31 games played. McCollum in his 4th year with the Mustangs, looking to climb the hill and get the Mustangs their unprecedented 10th Mink League title. He grounds that full count pitch over to Slabowski at short, who's able to make the play and retire McCollum for the first out.
I mean, a good piece of hitting, good contact off the bat. Just got off the end of the bat off McCollum. Just poked it right over to shortstop in time, and we're back to the top of the order.
Chris Coy takes his turn for the 2nd time. He grounded out to the pitcher. His first time up. Zano one foul down the 3rd base line. Past what looks like Darius Freeman wearing the manager's helmet tonight. So, you know, the Mustangs' normal manager is in the other dugout, so guys are having to fend for themselves.
And you love to see it. I mean, like I said, how loose this game feels, having Darius Freeman at 3rd base, and he's chirping it over on the Alumni side. He's been doing that the whole game, and Freeman's the perfect guy, if you ask me, Truman, to have over at 3rd base. Just a lively character, but also a nice leader here for the Mustangs, trying to get them a win.
It's Braden Berry on the mound now. Grew up playing on the same travel ball team that Braden Luckhart did, so I bet Luckhart's hoping he can get a turn in the box. Getting at bat versus his former teammate. Graduated from Savannah High School. That one, too. Coy really gets into it. Lines it down the left field line, but a nice running grab. Made out there in left by Ryan Hook.
I mean, minus the outs, the Mustangs, both hitters have put in some good contact on the bat. Coy pulled it right off the sweet spot of the bat, but Hook read it all the way off the bat and made a tremendous play, saving extra bases for this Alumni team. And got to wonder on the mound, Barry just loving the way this defense has been playing for him to open up his evening.
Logan Miller's 1 for 1. He doubled and scored a run last inning. Didn't want to go around, but he did. Miller this past spring finished up at Minnesota State Mankato. Hit .328 in 51 games, 43 hits and 131 at-bats. Drove in 21. Also walked 24 times. Count evens at 2-2. Here, 2 outs, nobody on here in the bottom of the second. Mustangs maybe looking to replicate the 2-out magic the Alumni had in the top half of this inning. 3 straight singles after 2 quick outs, but weren't able to capitalize. It's Noah Bodenhausen grounded out to third.
To all my Bearcat fans out there, opening the football season, going out to Minnesota Mankato, I'll be there with them. It's going to be either really nice, really cold. You just never know with those Minnesota Mankato weathers.
Miller strikes out swinging and does a full 360 on it. 1-2-3 go the Mustangs in the bottom of the second. We head to the third. Mustangs still lead 3-1 here on YouTube. With it being, father-daughter date night and, Snow White meet and greet, thought we'd break out the Snow White trivia. So the first one I have for us tonight, Jackson, is what was the original name for Dopey during early script development?
Okay.
Was it A, Smelly, B, Deafy, C, Wheezy, or D, Tipsy?
That's a tough one. I mean, honestly, I wasn't a big Snow White watcher. Having 2 little sisters, I've seen about all of them, but Snow White was never the one that got replayed. So not going to know this one. I'm just going to go off and say Wheezy. It's going to be my official guess. So type them down in the comments. We'll have that answer coming up shortly.
It's another new pinch hitter here for the Alumni, pinch hitting for Ike Book. Pitts gets the pinch hitter down swinging. It's a quick 3-pitch punch out here to start the third. Third strikeout for Pitts.
And a nice off speed there, and Pitts really had the better of him and just worked that inside part. A couple fastballs he saw in there and then just fooled him on the off speed. Now Holton coming up here to bat for these Alumni hitters.
Mason Holton came in as a defensive substitution for Dale Wheeler. The bottom half of last inning, now takes his first at bat. Wheeler would work to walk in his only plate appearance of the night. Upstairs. The original Snow White animated movie was the first Disney princess film back all the way in 1939, I believe.
Wow, got an oldie.
Let me fact check this. That might not be the case. (1937) actually, so even earlier than that. The original Disney Princess film as Holton now swings through a breaking ball, and it's 2-2. And it's the one Disney Princess movie that just got its live action remake. Definitely mixed reviews coming out. Definitely know there was some fire going on during the early production about what the film actually might stand for. As another breaking ball drops in on the outside corner. And that sends Holton walking back to the dugout. That's Pitts' 4th K of the night.
Love to see it again. Off speed, just dropped it right in the zone, and Holton didn't even want to put a bat to it. Just had to watch that one go.
Another pinch hitter. Jackson Heimel. He's first pitch swinging. He'll sky one out to center. It sends Luke Hart all the way back, and that one's up against the 400 sign and off the wall. Heipel will cut the brakes there at second, and he'll be on with a 2-out double.
Good piece of hitting there from Heimel. Just drove the up-and-up pitch out into center field, and in that sun, just couldn't get a good eye on it. The ball, once again, like I mentioned, got lost in that sun out in center field. Luke Hart just couldn't get the read, and good piece of hitting there from Heimel.
Now it'll be Brady Holden pinch hitting for TJ Daly. It's his first look at Pitts. That one flared out towards center, and that'll get down for a hit. Back-to-back 2-out hits, and the Alumni have their second run on the board with the RBI single by Brady Holden.
Once again, these Alumni hitters just working on the inside part of the plate, pulling the ball out to the outfield. Really good looks from these guys coming in, really giving these Mustangs players a hard time, and only a 1-run ball game here to start the 3rd inning, and a nice piece of hitting from Holden.
Now here in the 9 spot, but his second turn at the dish, it'll be Josh Majevich. Majevich was 0 for 1. He got caught looking back in the first. That one roped down the right field line, but a nice running grab made by Logan Miller up against the right field line for the 3rd out, but not before a 2-out double and a 2-out single played another run for the Alumni. We're 1/3 of the way through this game. Your Mustangs still lead 3-2. Braden Berry out for his 2nd inning of work, and he'll get to face his former travel ball teammate, Braden Lukehart. leads off the Mustangs here. He was 0 for 0. He was hit by a pitch in the first, but came around to score on the 2-run single from Truman Bodenhausen. Do you have fond travel ball memory days, Jackson?
You know, I really do. You know, back in elementary school, predominantly middle school is when I really started to take travel ball a little bit more serious. I loved just going to those tournaments with your friends. You know, even if that was a bus ride or just a carpooling with each other's parents and stuff. It was just always such a fun time for me, and I don't know if I can think of anything. I mean, I did win the MVP in my 8th grade, still have the trophy in my room. It was about 20 degrees outside, snowing. I was playing left field. I got the MVP for getting the leading hit, and then 1 out in the last inning of the game. I made a diving catch in left field to keep the runner on second. That was the almost fondest memory I have of travel ball. What a good time.
Meanwhile, Luke Hart wins the battle of former travel ball buddies, ripping a 1-1 pitch in right field for a leadoff single.
Good piece of hitting. Luke Hart wins the battle against his buddy, an old travel ball friend, and that ball right off the bat. Good exit velocity. And a good chance for Mosh to get Luke Hart moving on these base paths. And speaking of travel ball, Truman, what's like the first thing that comes to mind when you think of your travel ball memories?
I think it was a couple games ago, talked about when I almost hit a walk-off grand slam in a game.
Yes.
But, I mean, I will definitely, you know, those early, like, March travel ball games when it was still cool outside. I remember one we were playing, I think it was up in the Kansas City area.
Okay.
It was cold enough that one of the parents brought, like, his hunting tent and set up, like, a little heater in it. That way our bats could be warm. As that one lined off the glove of Majevich into right field as Jack Mosh reaches on his second hit of the evening.
Mustangs really putting some barrels here on Barry and at the same spot. I mean, Luke Hart put it through that second base gap. Mosh was doing the same thing, just a little bit more at Mijivak at second base. Just couldn't get the good glove on it. And with Luke Hart's speed, easily making it over to second base, and now no outs and 2 hits here to open up the bottom of the 3rd for the Mustangs.
I also remember winning the 9U AA Missouri State Championships. So, you know, it's the only ever, you know, travel ball Missouri State Championship I won, but I remember that.
Love to hear that.
Was the catcher in that winning game. There was one year we would have competed at the AA. I think it was when I was 11 11U, but you know, with how like the Missouri whatever travel ball USSA stuff works, like when you start to win games, you can get bumped up to the next level. Well, I would say that our team, we were a really, really good AA team. Is that one off the bat of George, grounded to third, and not in time. George is going to reach, as Wheeler wasn't able to handle that one at the hot corner. And now the bases are full of current Mustangs for Truman Bodenhausen.
And they are going to mark that down as an E5. Just couldn't get a good glove on it. Good speed out of the box George had, and bases loaded, no outs. Now Bodenhausen, who had a 2 RBI single back in the first, trying to do a similar approach.
Anyway, to finish that up, and it was the year, like, well, that was 11. We were a really good AA team, but unfortunately, like, the week before, we won a tournament, so then we got bumped up to AAA.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we didn't go to state that year because, again, like I said, we were a really good AA team, but we wouldn't have had much success at, however that AAA, however, the Missouri travel balls, youth baseball classifications work. But fond travel ball memories, and yeah, once I got into junior high, played with some friends as Bodenhausen taps one softly over to Majevich at second. He'll go to first for 1, but Luke Hart will cross for the Mustangs' 4th run of the evening.
I mean, just a unselfish at-bat there. Didn't want to try to do something too fancy. Just wanted to get some runs across, especially just with a 1-run lead. Extends it to 2, and still only 1 out, and runners in scoring positions on 2nd and 3rd for Gundelfinger.
Gundelfinger reached on an air his first time up. A run came across, but unfortunately not charged with the RBI. He's first pitch swing, and that one's a screamer into the right center gap and over the head of Book. Mosh is in. Right behind him is George, and it's a 2-run double for Tyler Gundelfinger.
That ball screaming off the bat of Gundelfinger, just put it over the hand of Hook. And that'll drive 2 more in for the Mustangs. They lead it 6-2 in a 3-run bottom of the 3rd. That ball just hung up in the air, Truman, just far enough to get over the glove. And Parker Griffith now up, and actually this will be
Jace Johnson.
the substitution, Jace Johnson, you're right.
Johnson gets the turn with the stick. He's been known for his lights-out pitching so far. 4 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts. But he gets to channel his inner Shohei Ohtani, Babe Ruth. Take a turn at the plate.
Against the Renegades, 2 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts and no runs and no hits. So you mentioned, I mean, he's just a lights-out pitcher. And this is a cool moment. Just get to see some hitters come to the plate just for fun. You know, they probably begged Coach, like, I don't know if you remember that interview with that one baseball player who had the opportunity to go hit in college ball, and he was like, "What did you tell
LSU
Coach?"
guy?
Yeah. What'd you tell Coach?
That's one of the all-time great clips. He recently got promoted to AAA, I saw. It
Good
came
for
across my
him.
feed. But hold on, let's see if we can find his name. It was a while back, before COVID. SEC tournament, LSU's playing, and, you know, those tournaments, you just get down, you know, to pitching and, you know, double switching and all that stuff. And he convinced LSU manager to let him take a turn at the dish. Todd Peterson.
Todd Peterson.
He hit a 2-run double in 2018, a 2-run double in the 12th inning of an SEC tournament game against South Carolina. And then post-game, he confessed to not only the reporters but his coach that he actually never hit in high school.
Yep.
He told his coach he hit bombs because he told the LSU coach, is that one into center? They were trying to pick Gundelfinger off. He'll move up to 3rd on the E1. But Todd Peterson told his coach he hit bombs in high school. And then post-game, he said he actually never hit. He said he hit in BP, and the LSU coach couldn't believe it because he smacked one. Was one of the big game-clinching hits for LSU in that tournament game. One of the all-time baseball stories. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's why baseball, it's, you know, one of the oldest sports, if not the oldest sport here in America, and just so many stories that are getting written, have been told, and unfortunately have been lost to history. Meanwhile, Jace Johnson takes a big ol' rip. Almost came out his shoes on that one as the count goes full now.
He's wanting to get one, I can tell. I mean, that thing was nowhere near his zone, but he gives a shrug over to the home dugout saying, why not? He's wanting one here on 3-2.
He stays alive, 3-2.
I want to know the conversation that it was between Johnson and, I mean, I wonder if it was over to Freeman, was like, Johnny's not in. You got to let me go up to the plate. You got to let me swing. He's getting his opportunity here, full count still.
And his full count offerings outside, and Jace Johnson, in his first plate appearance of the summer, draws a walk.
Quality at bat from Johnson. I know inside, I could tell by the way he was planting that feet on that last pitch. He really wanted to take the rip, but took everything in him to just say, you know what, got to play baseball the right way, and plates the walk, and ducks on the pond on 1st and 3rd for Dom Felix.
Dom Felix pinch hits for Trevor McCollum. Felix leads this team in hits with 7. 7 for 16. Also leads the team in RBIs with 7. Also has drawn 5 walks. Last night was 3 for 4. He had 2 singles and a double, 3 RBIs. Also had a walk in that win over Chillicothe. Johnson's going to take off for second. But unfortunately, Felix is going to swing through for strike 2 and foul it off. Johnson didn't get any at-bats this past spring at Hutchinson Community College, in case you were wondering, you know, maybe that's why he got the at-bat, but nonetheless, he got a plate appearance and he drew a walk. Felix pokes one into right field and it'll drop. Into score comes Gundelfinger, and Dom Felix has his 8th RBI on the year.
Mustangs really quality at-bats, watching the ball all the way through the hands of Barry, and he's going to get likely pulled out of this situation after his 4th earned run here, and he's responsible for Felix and Johnson on the base paths, actually just maybe trying to get a talk here with the coach trying to get it figured out. But a 7-2 Mustangs lead, looking really comfortable. Maybe, you know, we might see another run rule coming into effect, but just really quality at-bats. You know, they look really comfortable at in the batter's box, put some good swings on the ball, even if they're outs. I mean, they're making good contact the whole night, and they really love to see it from these Mustangs.
We will indeed see a pitching change. So we'll step aside as the new pitcher warms up. 7-2, Mustangs lead here, bottom of the 3rd. Still runners at 1st and 2nd, 1 out, as you're watching St. Joseph Mustangs baseball here on YouTube. Jacob Van Vactor takes over for the Alumni for Braden Berry after only an inning and a third, giving up 4 runs, 3 earned, and is also responsible for both runners at 1st and 2nd right now as the Mustangs lineup flips over. It'll be Chris Coy, so far the only Mustang yet to reach base tonight, as he's grounded out to the pitcher and lined to left. Both runners take off. Throw to 3rd is going to beat Johnson by a mile. So Jace Johnson got aggressive, and he gets thrown out by a nice throw from Daly. And now 2 outs. Dom Felix will move up to 2nd on his own stolen base.
Beautiful throw from Daly over. Van Vactor with a weird look. He kind of Cueto-styled it, looking over at Felix to 2nd.
You don't see much of that anymore. Again, talking about just, again, about pitchers, mechanics, and just, you know, analytics into the game. Very few guys are trying anything fancy. As Coyle going on 3 pitches, Van Vactor comes in and does his job and limits the damage. But not before the Mustangs plate 4 more. Here in the 3rd, Mustangs will take a 7-2 lead. He headed into the 4th as you're watching St. Joseph Mustangs baseball here on YouTube. Caden Carter takes over for Sam Pitts, who made it 3 innings, gave up 2 runs on 7 hits with 4 strikeouts and 2 walks. Carter out of Missouri Southern University down in Joplin so far this season. In his first appearance, 2 innings, 1 walk, and had 5 strikeouts. In his first appearance of the season back on May the 31st, last Saturday, against the Nevada Griffins, and got the win. As now we bring back up our first trivia question of the night. What was the original name for Dopey during early script development of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? It is Snow White Night. And the answer is, it was indeed Deffy, but unfortunately they trashed that for it being too offensive. Meanwhile, first batter of the inning, nice play over there by Chris Coy as Ryan Hook grounds out to Coy to start the 4th. It was indeed Deffy, and it was scratched because it was just a bit too offensive.
Deffy, okay, I guessed Wheezy, but if any of you guys guessed Deffy, congratulations. And Snow White, the only probably 2 times that I've seen it, you know, just a really classic movie. Like you mentioned, a lot of controversy the movie and the live action has gotten just because it's just very far apart. Well, you know, but I am eager to see it because I've watched most live actions. Just watched the most recent live action. I watched Lilo and Stitch this week, and it was really good. And they casted it very well, and it was played to perfection in how it lined up with the original.
Johnny Coy steps into the batter's box. He was 1 for 1 with an RBI single in the first. He'll line that one into right center and won't test the wheels and see how good the joints are, as he'll have a 1-out single here to bring up Ike Book.
Coy showing him his players what's up. Second hit of the night for him, and I want to get some stat casts on his last 2 hits and see what that exit velocity was off the bat, because those things were screaming into the outfield. And Coy taking him to school here tonight.
Book takes strike 1. Book popped out to Coy at short. Not Johnny, but indeed Chris Coy, the nephew. His first time at the dish in the first. The Alumni find themselves down 7-2. These young bucks and the current generation of St. Joseph Mustangs. Book pulls that one over to first. George will toss to Carter, who grabs it with his bare hand for a nice 3-1 put out, a little PFP there from Caden Carter to get the 2nd out.
And a nice play there made by George and Carter. I mean, Carter hustling over to first and just barely made it there in time, but George, good fundamentals, fielding it and getting the flip over. A nice 2nd out, but manager Johnny Coy sitting over at 2nd in scoring position.
Base hit does not guarantee Coy will score. Dale Wheeler takes his 2nd turn at the dish. Wheeler walked in the first, his first time up. Now Carter has Wheeler down 1-2.
Carter, nice job working those 2 strike counts, putting them in the zone, making these Alumni hitters go to work. Now 2 outs and a 2 strike count. He's got Wheeler.
Carter appeared in 13 games for Missouri Southern this past spring, 14 1/3 innings, 10 strikeouts to 9 walks, and a 6.91 ERA. But opponents only batted 192 off him. Two from Carter. Swung on and missed. Wheeler goes down swinging. Coy stranded at 2nd. We head to the bottom of the 4th here in St. Joe. Mustangs lead the Alumni 7-2. So get a look tonight at the weather track here. Storms came through the area this morning, but those clouds are long gone as the sun came out and dried up the field. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed back up the water spout, but it's currently 73 degrees and sunny. The sun has gone back behind the grandstands here at Phil Welch. Temperature will continue to drop, 72. Sunset set for 8:45. Temperatures will be in the high 60s by the time this one wraps up. Logan Miller steps in for his third turn at the dish, 1 for 2. He doubled and scored a run his first time up and struck out swinging. His last time up is Jacob Van Vactor back to work for the Alumni. Miller grounds one over to third. The third baseman cuts off and makes the nice play. Over to Heimel at first. Great play there made by Mason Holton.
Holton made a really good play there at third. I mean, that ball was really originally designed over there for the shortstop, and Holton with a strong arm. I mean, you saw that ball out of the hand. I mean, that was zipped. Miller has some speed out of the box, but Holton with a nice sidearm throw for the first out. Brings up Lucart back up to the plate.
Lucart yet to be retired, 1 for 1. He singled and scored back in the third and got hit by a pitch and scored back in the first.
Love a guy like Lucart who can come to the plate and get to home every single time he comes up, and he's done just that in this game.
Fun fact about Braden Lucart is him and Tyson Koch threw no-hitters in high school for Lafayette High School in the same day in back-to-back games against two different teams.
Wow.
I mean, throwing a no-hitter, one of your teammates is impressive, but back-to-back, even more impressive as Lucart grounds that one down the right field line. We'll take a big turn at first, but we'll put on the brakes with a one-out single, his second hit of the night.
I mean, that is just ripped down the line on first and just squeaks by. Over on the first base side, and Lucart with the nice exit velocity to just poke it by, and we'll see if he can come home for the third time in a row here in this game, but same day. I mean, that is just impressive enough.
I mean, I know in playing for my high school that we never had anyone throw a no-hitter. Thinking we had one person throw a one-hitter maybe.
Okay.
But I don't think we ever had a no-hitter. It's Jack Mosh, who was 2 for 2, grounds one back to Van Vactor. Thought about throwing to second. But we'll just take the sure out at first as Lucart moves into scoring position now with 2 outs.
Productive enough for Mosh. I mean, right in that situation, your goal is just to move the runner over if you can, and he did just that. Lucart with the speed. It looked like Van Vactor was given a look over to see if he even had a shot with Lucart, but not ended up. And George with a runner in scoring position. He's looking for his first RBI tonight.
George is 0 for 2, but he did reach on an error and score his last time up. Here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. talking about high school baseball, a couple updates on future Mustangs.
How's my Staley Falcons looking?
Staley alum and Jackson Phelps alongside me tonight, Truman Griesel and Easton Philippi, who will join the team hopefully next week starting, but him and his Staley Falcons are up 1-0 top of the third down in Ozark, Missouri at Sky Bacon Stadium, my hometown, about a mile from my house.
Love to hear that.
Fortunately, never got to play in those state championship, and always hated this week of the year, hearing those cheers coming from the stadium, the lights on into the dark of night, but up 1-0. Philippi 0 for 1 with a walk. He had a 2-run single last night against Fort Zumwalt West to get the win, and then another former player who we'll get back to as George strikes out to end the fourth. We're headed to the fifth. Still 7-2 here at Phil Welch. Top of the fifth here at Phil Welch. Mustangs lead 7-2. And Jackson, you are giggling because it is meet and greet with Snow White tonight, father-daughter date night. Oh. We already did one question about what was Dopey's original name, but I have a little challenge for you. You didn't know about this until just now, but for the viewers at home, can Jackson name all 7 dwarves? There are only 7.
Oh my gosh,
and you just got to name them all by the end of this half inning. Or at least, or say you give up.
Okay.
So viewers at home, play along. But, when you have your list, you know what? I'll give you 2 chances. So you get two guesses. 2 guesses of 7.
Okay.
I'll give you 2 guesses of 7 to get. Can Jackson Phelps name all 7 dwarfs?
I need all of you guys in the comments to help me out because, like I said, I have not watched Snow White in so many years with my little sisters. I need your guys' help, so all you guys watching at home, just be in the comments. I think I can name about 2 right now, but again, I'll come back later to see if I can try. My goal is at least 4 or 5. I mean, that's the goal, but I got to go to work here, Truman.
Cole Slabowski leads off for the Alumni. Slabowski 0 for 1, struck out looking against the starter Sam Pitts. Just again, Jackson, I'm giving you the end of the half inning, so if these 3 Alumni hitters go down like that,
oh man,
we'll come back with your answer. But
okay.
If they put up a 10 spot, gives you all the more time to think. So you really want to think through your guess, what your guess is going to be. But you get 2. The first one, I won't tell you which ones are correct. I'll tell you how many are correct.
How many are correct? Okay.
Yes, I will tell you how many are correct, and then you can make your adjustments and give your second final guess. But thought it'd be a little fun. We've done trivia a lot. We still have one more for later in this game. Again, Snow White being the first Disney, that Disney princess film. Thought it might be fun to break out all the stops. But this one is, I guess we can call the 5th inning challenge of can Jackson Phelps name all 7 dwarves?
I'm loving this first at-bat here. Just keep fouling those balls off on 2 strikes and keep helping me out and everyone at home once again. I'm really going to need your help. This is really tough.
Meanwhile, Slabowski pops
down.
one high, and it'll be caught by Gundelfinger over at third for the first out of the 5th.
Just couldn't get all of that one. Just on the lower part of the bat, kind of near the inside of the barrel. Just couldn't really drive it too far out. And for my sake, don't really like seeing that. It's a quick out for the Alumni team. Just keep on getting those barrels, boys.
Now it'll be TJ Daly. Daly grounded out to Bodenhausen over at second his first time up. Caden Carter back to work for his second inning as Daly pops one, and that'll go foul. Off the roof of the clubhouse, missed catch by a fan. Had a glove, had it all set up, but unfortunately just missed it. Now Carter has Daly down 1-2. And he blows the fastball by him. Strike 3. Second out of the inning. My partner, Jackson Phelps, head in his hands knowing his time is dwindling.
Oh, man.
You know what? You know what? I will still give you 2 guesses. I'll give you to the end of the 5th, the end of this whole inning.
The whole inning.
Whole
I
inning.
mean, honestly,
we need your first guess by the end of this inning.
I like that. Okay.
And then we'll have your second guess at the end of the bottom of this half inning.
Perfect.
Brock Chafin back for his second AB. He also grounded out to Bodenhausen his first time up. That breaking ball rides a little far inside. You know, don't worry, Jackson. You know, you can for future nights, you can come up with challenges for myself based around the theme nights for our, challenge or trivia or whatever,
I love it.
I fun brain workout riddle things.
I love it, and I know the viewers at home are loving my distress, and we will be continuing these. These are fun, but man, I am still stumped.
Meanwhile, one hop over to Coy, and he'll fire it out. And we'll come back with Jackson's first guess about how can he name all 7 dwarves. Caden Carter gets the Alumni 1-2-3 in the 5th. Bottom of the 5th next here on YouTube. We're back here in the bottom of the 5th. In case you are just joining us, Truman Griesel alongside me tonight is my partner Jackson Phelps, and I gave Jackson a challenge in the top half of the inning with it being Snow White night. Can Jackson name every one of the 7 dwarves? Now, I'm not evil, so I'm giving him 2 guesses, so this is his first guess. Jackson, what is your first guess on can you name all 7 dwarves?
All right. Dopey, Sleepy, Loopy, Droopy, Laffy, Hefty, and Lazy. I can tell by the way you're laughing.
You can tell by the way I'm laughing because it's just funny. And you know what? You've got Dopey. Wait, what was your second one?
Sleepy.
Yes, you got Dopey and Sleepy. Your first guess got you 2 of 7.
God.
2 of 7 is your first guess.
Okay.
So, and again, for those viewers at home, we're giving him at the bottom of this inning to think of his second guess, but he's gotten 2. Meanwhile, Truman Bodenhausen grounds out to first to start. The bottom of the Mustangs' fifth is Jacob Van Vactor back out for his 3rd inning, now inning in 2/3 into his night out of the bullpen.
I don't see too many of you at home commenting. I'm going to need your help. I only got 2 right. I still have 5 on the board.
Yeah, for those viewers watching in the chat, drop maybe some helpful hints for Jackson. Again, he's gotten dopey and he got sleepy.
Dopey and sleepy.
He got dopey and sleepy. He needs the other 5. And you know what? I also give you this hint. None of the other 5 rhyme with those 2.
Okay.
So
that's good.
None of the other 5 rhyme with those 2.
Good to know. Oh, man.
It's Tyler Gundelfinger up. He's 1 for 2. He had a 2-run double his last time up, and now he's got his second hit. Lining one over the head of Cole Slabowski out into left center field for his second hit of the night, a 1-out single.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler Gundelfinger, buying me some extra time, and what a piece it was. Just drove it over the shortstop's head over there in Slabowski, and 1 out here for Jace Johnson, his second plate appearance of the night.
Jace Johnson walked and was eventually caught stealing, trying to steal third. Back in the third. Johnson normally on the pitcher's mound here at Phil Welch, but he gets his turn in the batter's box. But he'll go down quickly on 3 pitches, striking out. And now brings up Dom Felix with 2 outs here in the 5th. And look at this. Felix is going to take his second at-bat in the left-hand batter's box. Get the lefty-lefty matchup against Van Vactor.
Because why not?
Everyone's having a little fun. As there goes for second Gundelfinger, and he will be thrown out! And the groan from my partner means coming up after this break, we will see if Jackson Phelps can name all 7 dwarves. But meanwhile, Tyler Gundelfinger caught stealing to end the 5th. We're headed to the 6th here at Phil Welch on a beautiful low 70s night here in St. Joseph, Missouri. Your Mustangs still lead 7-2. Third pitcher of the night for the Mustangs, taking over after 2 innings from Caden Carter will be Diego de Santiago in his 3rd appearance. In his first 2 appearances, 2 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, and a walk. As last year in 7 appearances. Made 2 starts. He was 1-0 in 16 and a third innings, 9.37 ERA, but so far off to a very nice start. For all the viewers at home, you're here as in the top of the 5th, I gave Jackson Phelps the challenge. Can he name all 7 dwarfs here on Snow White Meet and Greet Night? In his first guess, he got Dopey and he got Sleepy. Now, Jackson, are you confident in your final guess?
I'm gonna say I'm confident, and I want to shout out my sweet mother in the live chat for helping me out here. She's hanging out with my sisters tonight with my grandma's house, so I know they were trying to get me the right answers. But my final answers of the night.
Final guess.
I'm gonna throw a couple in there just because. Wacky is gonna be my one that I'm just gonna throw in there.
Is this part of your answer?
This is part of my answer. I'm just gonna name my last answers. Here we go.
Okay, this is your last answer.
Wacky, Doc, Bashful, and then Dopey and Sleepy, and that's all I'm gonna have for you tonight.
You're only gonna guess 5?
I'm only gonna. I couldn't think of anything
Well,
else.
you got 4.
Okay,
so you got
4.
4. The 7 dwarves are Doc, Grumpy, Happy,
Oh my goodness!
Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Dopey. Those are the 7 dwarves.
Oh my goodness! Now that you
And
say it,
their names reflect their personalities.
fun game, Truman.
Fun game. We
Fun
can
game.
keep score throughout the season. Right now, I'm up 1-0 in terms of stumping the other. But tune in for future broadcasts for future trivia challenges that we have. Meanwhile, the first batter to create DeSantiago will be Frankie Alvarez. Alvarez singled in the second and was stranded at third, as in that inning the Alumni left the bases loaded. As he rips one on the ground to third, sliding play made over by Gundelfinger, and he fires a dart over to first to retire Alvarez.
What a play by Gundelfinger. Goes into a mini slide as that ball was rocketed off the bat of Alvarez. And little bobble, but stuck with it. And the cannon of an arm Gundelfinger's got with that long wingspan. More than enough in time for the first out.
Now it'll be Will Dryberg, excuse me. Dryberg also singled in his last time up in the second. It's now much like Alvarez. Dryberg evens the count at 1-1. Another heater fouled off to the first base side. DeSantiago, definitely one of the harder throwing Mustangs on this year's team. When he wants to, he can rear back and fire a pitch in the low 90s, even to mid 90s if he wants.
Really has a gun for a pitcher here, and we've gotten to see him a couple of times, and he has really just blown these fastballs by the hitters.
That one off the hands of Dryberg. DeSantiago off the mound, fires over to George. And 2 quick ground outs here to start the 6th for the Alumni.
Nice job just jamming the hitter on the inside half of the plate, and Santiago fired over to George just in time for the second out. Nice defensive plays here for the Mustangs. Start the top of the 6th.
Now Luke Powers here. Powers in his second AB. He also singled back in that second. Now gets his second turn here in the 6th. That pitch now in for a strike, now 0-2. Great crowd on hand here tonight at Phil Welch. 6 games into the season. Still plenty of fans packing out Phil Welch. They look to catch at least a game or 2 as this Mustangs team looks to continue on their quest for a 10th Mink League title. Santiago thought he had the outside corner, shaking his head a little bit. No, he just missed it by a couple inches.
Really just a couple of inches. A nice fastball in the outside half, and we'll see if Santiago wants to attack the same side.
He will, and it's swung on, but the ball gets away from Griffith to Santiago. Picks it up, and Powers will reach on the drop third strike, one of the rare times you see someone reach on the drop third. Santiago technically tallies his first strikeout, but a runner does reach. Now it brings back up Noah Bodenhausen. Bodenhausen grounded out to Gundelfinger at third to end that second inning threat.
Just a nice pitch. Not only it fooled the batter, it fooled Johnson at catch. Just couldn't get a good glove on it. Santiago's doing a really good job on these hitters tonight.
Bodenhausen takes a big rip at the heater, fouls it off. Seven to 2, the Mustangs lead the Alumni. It was a 3-run first and a 4-run third. For the Mustangs, Alumni plated 1 in those same exact innings, but fortunately 2 is not greater than 7. That is where our score stands at right now. Now the 1-1 to Bodenhausen. Upstairs, and it gets away from Johnson. So Powers will move up to second base on the wild pitch and move into scoring position.
Just a good read from Powers in first base. Just saw that it was a little high, and Johnson just couldn't get that in the top of the mitt. Now a runner in scoring position, 2 outs here for Bodenhausen.
Now Bodenhausen takes a big rip, but comes up empty as now it's 2-2 with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. The 2-2 from number 32. Outside, full count.
Nice job by Bodenhausen here, working that full count. Really disciplined, as Santiago's been given some tough heaters that Bodenhausen's been having to deal with, and just a good job from him watching them all the way through.
Swung on and missed from Bodenhausen. To Santiago, his second strikeout of the inning. Ends the top of the 6th. Strands a man at second base. Bottom of the 6th. Coming up here at Phil Welch. Mustangs still lead the Alumni 7-2 as you're watching St. Joseph Mustangs baseball here on YouTube. Steve D'Amico takes over for the Alumni for Jacob Van Vactor, who threw 2 1/3 shutout innings. This will be the third time the Mustangs are seeing D'Amico, as he threw 8 innings on May the 30th in a complete game loss. And then on Wednesday of this week, came in the 8th inning and got a double play ball in that bottom of the 8th to get out of a jam before walking the first 2 hitters in the 9th, but the Monarchs were able to get out of it. So third time these Mustang hitters are seeing D'Amico, and it'll be Dom Felix to lead us off here in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, Felix back in the 3rd with a single and an RBI single. Made his way all the way to second base, and looks like he'll make his way.
Looks like he got
first.
hit, actually, yeah. Didn't look like it on first. Looked like he maybe got out of the way, but, you know, sometimes your body gets out of the way, but your jersey still bags out there, and it sometimes catches the jersey. Jersey is a part of the body, so Dom Felix will take it. Leadoff hit by pitch. Flips the lineup over back for Chris Coy. Coy waves and misses.
Coy 2 big swings to start this at-bat. He's really looking for that first hit and first extra base hit of the season. He's really just trying to get some umph into his swings here.
He's 0 for 3 tonight, looking for his first hit. He's grounded out, he's lined out, and he's struck out. He's done just about everything except maybe flew out and popped out. Seems like the last ways to make outs. Maybe if he wants to make an out on like a batter indifference, but he'll take strike 3, looking on the breaking ball on the outside.
What a pitch from Mr. Steve D'Amico, who these Mustangs are all too familiar with facing, and a good surplus of pitches that he has in his arsenal, and got Coy on the off speed after getting him to swing on 2 heaters. And, you know, Truman, we've gotten to see D'Amico a couple of times pitch and hit, and been one of the better players on the Kansas City Monarchs. He's bringing the same thing here into the Alumni game.
Brings that same aggressive mentality on the mound. Update for those wondering for future Mustang East and Philippine Ashton Nance as Blue Springs South and Staley battle it out down in Ozark, Missouri. As there goes Felix for second. Hold on the update. And Felix will be thrown out. The second out of the inning on the caught stealing. Dom Felix thought he might try to take second.
Daly's second time catching these Mustangs on the base paths. You know, we haven't seen that this much this season. These Mustangs have predominantly been a good stealing team.
It's now Logan Miller grounds one, takes an awkward hop, but able to field and throw to first. Is Majevic to retire the side. Update on that Class 6 state championship game after the break. We're headed to the final third of this game, 7-2 in the 2025 St. Joseph Alumni game here on YouTube. Chris Coy takes over for Diego De Santiago in his second appearance. So far in his 1 inning, he struck out 2. Did give up 1 hit. And that appearance was back on Wednesday against the Kansas City Monarchs. Pitched a very clean 8th inning. Gave up his only hit was to Gilberto Pena. The first pitch is fouled down the third base line. As Michael Paul steps in for his second trip at the dish. And his first one, he struck out swinging. Meanwhile, I'll get back to what I was saying before that bottom half of the 6th ended. Update on, 2 future Mustangs this summer. Ashton Nance for Blue Springs South High School and Easton Philippi for Staley High School, battling it out right now in the Class 6 Missouri Baseball State Championships down in Ozark, Missouri. And right now, update is Staley up 5-0 in the top of the 5th. Easton, unfortunately, 0 for 2 with the walk, but his team's still getting it done. Staley looking to get that coveted Class 6 Baseball State Championship, one of the most competitive state championships in the state of Missouri. I mean, all classes of Missouri sports in high school are competitive, but, you get to those big Class 6 schools.
Go Falcons, baby. Go Falcons.
Broadcast partner, a Staley alum.
Last time they won a state championship, I was broadcasting the 2023 basketball state championship. 2023 Staley Falcons won that one.
Didn't they beat Nixa or
Kickapoo?
Kickapoo. Okay, wasn't sure which one of those years was it, but
beat Jackson in the semifinals and then Kickapoo in the state championship. Girls basketball made it this year to the Class 6 state championship game and ended up losing to Incarnate Ward. Powerhouse girls basketball team in the Missouri Class 6 high school, but looking to get their first baseball state championship in a while. Love to see the turnaround from that program. Kind of took a break. Paul's going to draw the walk.
You bring up Jackson, Missouri. Have you ever been out to Jackson, south of St. Louis?
Can't say I have. Haven't been down to the Boot Hill of Missouri yet, kind of near Cape Girardeau and Jackson area. Haven't been down there before. Have you?
Was out there last spring playing baseball. Played a doubleheader against Jackson and Fort Zumwalt West. Went 2-0, excuse me. One of the highlights of that season because the night before we'd be beating Rockbridge, so beating 3 very talented teams.
Nice.
I can say I've been to Jackson, Missouri. Didn't really explore much, but, sure did play. Down there is Mason Holton. Gets his second AB. He struck out looking his first time up back in the 3rd. So he finds himself down in the count 0-2 here to Coy. Coy had Paul down 1-2 in the count, then lost him for a walk. Looking to see if he can induce that 5-4-3 double play ball. Many different ways to get a double play. I'm calling the 5-4-3. But Paul's going to take off for second. Throw from the knees is going to get into center. And Paul will take third on the E2. Here comes the throw, and that one almost gets away from Gundelfinger, but Michael Paul will get a stolen base and reach third on the E2.
Nice job by Paul. I mean, in some of those situations, that ball gets passed short there. There's too much into their slider. They can't really get up and get moving, but Paul, a really nice slide. Kind of got up on all fours and just started taking off to get the extra 90 feet. Now no outs and looking to chip back at this 5-run lead.
Been to quite a few places in Missouri, those places. I've been to Seneca quite a lot. Don't know if you ever made it down to Seneca, right on the border of Missouri and Oklahoma.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's where it is, but yeah, down south of Joplin. Been to all those towns by Joplin, Webb City, Neosho, Carthage, Carl Junction. Baseball takes you places. That one line to center, coming on and sliding will be Luke Hart. No, he missed it and he went past him. Holton will motor into second with an RBI double. Looked like Luke Hart was about to make a fantastic sliding grab. Instead, it's an RBI double and cuts the Mustang lead now to 7-3.
What a rip from Holton into center field. Bluecart just couldn't get a glove on it. Went past him in an easy 90 feet, even with no outs. I mean, having Paul there will score him nonetheless if the catch was made, but now a runner in scoring position once again, and only down 4 are the Alumni.
That one taken for a strike, Braden Berry. Now Berry chops one past the glove of Coy. Bodenhausen has, and he'll easily throw out Berry, as Holton will move up to third now with 2 outs.
Yeah, I really haven't been too much in the Missouri area. You know, I got a grandpa that lives in Nixa, Missouri currently right now. Kind of by where you're at in Ozark and Springfield area.
Just to the west.
Yep. Mom and sisters are currently in Clinton, Missouri. Kind of down south of Grandview area and Belton.
I'll be driving through that on my way home tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
Now it's Jackson Heimel. He's 1 for 1. He doubled and scored a run back in the 3rd. Alumni have put up a run here in the 7th to cut the lead to 4. Mason Holton at 3rd with 1 out. So he cuts on and misses for strike 2. You know, interesting fact about Braden Berry, who just grounded out to Truman Bodenhausen. Is that he graduated from Savannah High School. I think I shared that earlier, but graduated from Savannah High School. That one, breaking ball outside, called strike 3. And Heimel's down looking for the 2nd out of the inning. First strikeout for Coy.
Coy, nice off-speed pitch on that outside part of the plate. Beautiful done and getting that 2nd out, trying to leave Holton on 3rd. But speaking of Savannah, been up there a couple of times for my college radio station, done some Savannah basketball tournaments in the high school, Class 4. Really small town, but the people up there are awesome, and I love going up there for those basketball tournaments. And the rivalry between Maryville High School and Savannah High School is a real one. You get after it every single season in all sports.
Now it'll be Brady Holden stepping in. Holden walked and scored his first time up, and then grounded out to what was then Jack Mosh at second base his 2nd time up. So now way ahead in the count, 2-0. Brady Holden actually has an older brother named Tucker, and Tucker's in a band called Eli Alger and the Faster Horses. Not sure what kind of music they play, but definitely one of the more unique band names.
Huh. That is an interesting name. I love these facts you're pulling out about these players. I mean, you know, since these guys, you know, I mean, they got some cool stories to tell, you know. Some of them have been out of baseball for a little bit. Some still playing. But really cool to have some guys with some fun stories coming back to Phil Welch.
Well, I got to give credit to one of my host family's husband in the household. He's been feeding me facts all night about a lot of these guys, as Holden thought he had a walk right there, but instead has to stay put in that left-hand batter's box as the count goes full here. 3-2, 2 outs, 1 already home here in the 7th, runner at 3rd. Chris Coy on the bump, Brady Holden at the dish. Full count from Coy. Fouled away. Fans have stuck around here at Phil Welch for Saturday night fireworks following the game. A staple here at Phil Welch and a part of this St. Joseph Mustangs organization. There's another full count offering. This one is high and away for ball 4, and Brady Holden draws his 2nd walk of the evening.
Nice, disciplined at bat from Holton. Gets on first on a full count. 2 outs now. Runners on first and third on the corners, and Coy just trying to get himself out of this inning after giving up 1. A 4-run ball game. Mustangs still lead it.
Now to Josh Majevich. Struck out looking his first time up. And line to right his second time up. Now the 1-1 runs inside. It might have clipped Majevich on his hand, and that probably didn't hurt us. Now the bases are loaded here for Ryan Hook.
What an opportunity here for Hook, and Hook's had himself a night, got a hit. Looking to do the same thing here, try to drive at least 2 around to make it a 2-run ball game, but 2 outs. Coy still with a little breathing room with those 2 outs on the board. He'll get a quick talk from fellow pitchers Jace Johnson and Jaron Guck, the interim pitching coach of the night.
I wonder how much he's getting paid tonight to be the pitching coach, and I wonder if that was something in the cards for tonight.
Player to player, bro to bro talk here for Coy and Johnson. I mean, Johnson, who's catching, says, hey, we've all been here in these situations. Got to just throw me strikes. I'll do my part, get you some strikes on the lines, and Coy just needs to stay a little confident here in this two out area. Can't lose sight of yourself, and really got to leave anything but over the middle for Hook.
Bases are full here, top of the 7th. Grand slam would tie it for the Alumni. Ryan Hook definitely has the power. He chases one of the dirty, singled his first time up, but was stranded at third. The second time up, he grounded out to Coy, who was in at shortstop. 1 for 2 night. That one skied out to center. It takes Luke Hart back, but he makes the grab in left center field to retire the sign, escape the jam. 1 home in the inning, but no more, as the Alumni leave the bases loaded here as we're headed to the bottom of the 7th, 7-3, as you're watching St. Joseph Mustangs baseball here on YouTube. It'll be Braden Lucart, Jack Moss, and Justin George here for your Mustangs in the bottom of the 7th in a game they led from the start and still lead now 7-3 as we enter the final third of the 2025 St. Joseph alumni game this year. Steve D'Amico still on the mound, back out for his second inning of work. Lukehart 2 for 2. He singled twice, and he scored 2 runs. He's also made a couple of nice catches out in the outfield.
Covering a lot of ground out there in center field. He's done a really good job, you know, kind of trades off that spot with Logan Miller and Darius Freeman, and all 3 of them are quality outfielders this season so far, and Lukehart's one of them who's been having some gems out in the field.
Now just an update for you, Jackson, but Staley, the lead has been cut to 3. It's now 6-3 against Blue Springs South.
What inning are we looking at?
Bottom. Staley is the visitor, but
Okay.
so Easton Philippi again for Staley. Ashton Nance, who tossed a gem of a game last night to send Blue Springs South to the state final tonight. It's bottom 5. So Staley put up a run in the top half of the inning, and Blue Springs South has responded here with 3.
Okay. Love a competitive Class 6 championship game down in Ozark.
Lukehart retired for the first out of the inning, brings up Jack Mosh. I'm sure once, Easton Philippi and Ashton Nance get up here to St. Joe, whichever of those teams ends up winning, it'll be a little bit of bragging rights. Something that they can hold over the other's head, a little joking way. Mosh, meanwhile, he's also had himself a very nice night. 2 for 3 and 2 runs scored. But D'Amico quickly has him down 0-2. Jack Mosh out of the University of Minnesota. Didn't get that much playing time, batted .222 in his limited amount of opportunities. That one's sky down the third base line, and it'll get out into the club side bar area over just beyond the third base dugout to keep Mosh's at bat alive. Mosh in his first year with the Mustangs. Now his 6 hits on the year. That one blooped toward third again, and it'll be run down in foul territory. It's a nice grab made there by Will Dryberg for the second out.
Easiest play Dryberg will have all night. I mean, he was kind of trailing over towards that 5-6 gap, but then had a good jolt over off the bat. I mean, that thing didn't stay up too long. Dryberg had to get a nice play over there, but 2 outs on the board for D'Amico. Trying to go no hits, no runs here in the bottom of the 7th.
So now it'll be Justin George, who's 0 for 3, but he did reach on an error back in the 3rd and came around to score. George from from William Jewell University quickly finds himself down 0-2.
It's over where I live out in Liberty, Missouri.
He hit .352 in 48 games, 57 hits, including 12 doubles, a triple, and 8 bombs. Also drove in 46 runs. Also stole 8 bases without getting caught once. So a very nice year for Mr. George. If you're just joining us, the 2025 Mustangs put up 3 in the bottom of the 1st and 4 in the 2nd. Meanwhile, the St. Joseph alumni put up 1 in the 1st, 3rd, and top half here in the 7th. And that's how we stand here right now at 7-3. I'm Truman Grease. Alongside me tonight is Jackson Phelps, but Justin George strikes out for the 3rd time tonight as we're headed to the 8th. Alumni are down to their final 6 outs. So you're watching St. Joseph Mustangs baseball here on YouTube. Top 8 here at Phil Welch on a still gorgeous Saturday night. 7-3, the Mustangs lead the St. Joseph Alumni as we have a little family battle to begin the top half of the 8th as Johnny Coy steps in with his nephew Chris Coy on the bump. What if he just tries to put him away with a bunch of breaking balls, doesn't even show him the heater? Or does he blow 3 heaters by his uncle? Well, the first one misses outside, so maybe he's scared of his uncle.
I mean, I would be the way that manager Johnny Coy's been hitting the ball tonight. He's definitely had some pop off the bat, and Coy just cannot let that go over his head the whole season from his uncle.
Coy singled in the first and singled in the fourth. He's now way ahead 2-0, so his nephew's got to come to him. And he gets him on the breaking ball. To look foolish, a little smile, a little smirk coming from both the batter's box, but still stone cold out there on the mound is Chris. I guarantee you inside, he knows he just got his uncle badly as that one popped up, but it'll get out of play and up into the grandstand.
Right now, Coy's got his uncle in a 2-strike count, and Johnny Coy, like you mentioned, just still smiles, but you know, like you just mentioned, Chris Coy knows if he can strike out his uncle here, he can have that joking moment in the dugout all season long.
A 2-2 from Coy to Coy. Change up low, full count now. PA announcer getting into it a little bit, trying to heckle Johnny. And he swings and misses on the breaking ball. Looks foolish.
And would you look at that? Chris Coy striking out the older uncle who's had 2 hits tonight, the best hitter on the team. Stone cold on the mound. And the nephew can keep that dugout chatter going on all season long. And
wonder if he gets benched tomorrow because of that.
Gut comes out and says, all right, we wanted to keep you out here for one more.
Rightfully so, rightfully so. But
out.
Inning and a third from Chris Coy. No runs given up, but he'll depart. 5 outs left for the Alumni. So we'll take a short break, tell you about the new arm out there on the mound for the Mustangs as you're watching St. Joseph Mustangs baseball here on YouTube. As you're correctly seeing this, folks, not only is Jaden Little on the mound, but the entire infield is playing way in the grass, and the outfield is almost in the infield. As we have a special batter at the plate. You know, one of the Alumni sons getting his... Oh. What's His name is Chris. Chris is getting the at-bat here. And you're also not seeing that right. Andrew Clark is now at first base. Trevor McCollum is at second base. We're having a little fun here at Phil Welch. You know, we're having fun. That's what baseball is all about. And now Little throws behind Chris. And he's not happy about that. Little saying, come charge the mound.
Gotta love to see
You gotta
that.
love these moments. You know, I remember, I think it was like 4. And, you know, playing Park League baseball, my brother was in the oldest, like the biggest league. And, well, there was one game that his team didn't have enough players. So I had to go out there and play. And I'm this little I'm a little dude. Meanwhile, Chris strikes out. Chris Springs, one of the equipment managers for the Mustangs, strikes out, and now everyone will return to their natural positions. But finish up that story, I had to play, and you know, the other team thought I wasn't capable of hitting off their pitcher. They wanted, my dad was the coach. They wanted to see if he wanted to come out and throw to me, and he said it was fine. And you know, I don't know if I got a hit or anything, but you know, I remember I had to play for my brother. You know, they were probably like, I don't know, 9, 8, 9, or 10, and I was like 5.
Wow.
So you know, I was the bat boy for the team, but then you know, I got the chance to swing.
Love that.
Meanwhile, that one's grounded to third. Up with it, over to Andrew Clark. He squeezes it to retire Ike Book. We head to the bottom of the 8th here at Phil Welch. Your Mustangs still lead the Alumni 7-3. Bottom of the 8th here, and again, folks, your eyes aren't messing with you. Bronco Witt leads us off. We're all having fun here tonight. We've seen plenty of guys play different positions. Different guys have came in to pitch. We saw Chris Coy strike out his Uncle Johnny. My partner Jackson Phelps was only able to name 4. Yeah, he was only able to name 4 of these 7 dwarves. His Staley Falcons are now losing 8-6 in the Class 6 Missouri State Baseball Championship.
We can keep that one
Easton
quiet.
Philippi and Ashton Nance. Philippi plays for Staley. Nance plays for Blue Springs South. Both be up here hopefully next week to help the Mustangs out. But it's been quite the fun night. And your 2025 Mustangs lead 7-3 here in the 8th.
Felt like just a couple seconds ago you were talking about us leading the game, and now 8-6.
Meanwhile, Witt chops one over to second. On a couple hops, able to retire him for the first down. Bronco Witt, and what might be his only at-bat of the season, unfortunately, grounds out.
Hey, you love to see him making contact on the ball. At least that stat sheet isn't going to have a K on it. Makes good contact and hustled all the way through. A quality at-bat from Mr. Witt.
Is this in Frocka? Is this 20? Now another pinch hitter, another pitcher, Michael Frocka, who just made his way to the team here this weekend. As he comes to the Mustangs, who will hopefully see on the mound this season. But Frocka comes from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and they were finishing up their season. Makes his way up, and now he's way ahead in the count, 3-0. And now works a 4-pitch walk. Now to bring up Jace Johnson. Johnson 0 for 1. He walked and was caught stealing third and back in the third, and then struck out swinging back in the fifth.
You know, you really got to love that at-bat from Infranca. I mean, just really, really poised and really calm, and draws the 4-pitch walk, and that's something that you can kind of hold over your shoulders there for Infranca.
Here's Johnson, takes strike one. Throw up the last trivia question. I had one more. We'll do one more. It's number 2. 0-1. Now 0-2 to Johnson. Is, you know, I thought I might end out this night with one last trivia question, again, Snow White themed.
I love it.
And it is, you know, it's more for the movie production side. So what unusual material was used for the sound of the Evil Queen's transformation into the witch in the original cartoon? Is that one all the way to the backstop, and Frocka will move up to second. As your possible answers are A, glove rubbing against a leather surface, B, a piece of sandpaper rubbing against a brick, C, a cello bow scraping a rusted metal pipe, or is it D, dried corn husks being crumpled near a microphone?
Oh my gosh, Truman, you've been putting some good questions up here. Oh man.
Now Johnson, heavy rip. Heavy rip, and he strikes out swinging for his second time. Is now 2 outs with a man in scoring position.
I'm going to go with sandpaper on a brick.
Sandpaper on a brick is my partner's locked-in answer. It will be Caden Carter who pinch hits here for Dom Felix. Carter threw 2 innings earlier in the game and is in line for the win. Now looks to get a turn at bat. One and one the count here on Carter. Waves at a fastball in the outside corner, now 1-2. There goes Frocka for third, and he'll get in there safely. His second stolen base of the inning.
Nice job by Infranca. 2 stolen bases. Nice move out there by Wheeler at third. Almost deked Infranca like the ball was going to the outfield. But Infranca doing a good job staying put at third.
Now the count is full. 3-2 to Caden Carter. Full count offering. Inside, ball 4. And Caden Carter, much like his fellow pitcher Michael Infranca, works a walk here in the 8th.
Pitchers coming up here doing their job, and you love to see it. And Everyone, you're going to get this another chance to see Diego de Santiago coming to the plate as this pitcher's hitting inning continues. And Truman, I'm loving this. I'm loving seeing these pitchers get some hacks and seeing some live ABs this season.
Again,
throw some heat, but now at the plate.
Might be the only time they get the chance to, so they're going to try and make the most of it. It's a big hack from DeSantiago. You know, he should probably stay in the box. He wants to keep both feet planted.
His dad, Chepo, a couple days ago told us he was a two-way player.
Takes another big rip. This one's grounded softly. Wheeler fields. No play. Over to third goes Carter, and it's going to be an RBI single. Carter's going to try to score. Here comes the throw. And he's safe. A two-run single for Diego de Santiago.
Just doing whatever he had to do. Put the ball in play. Trust your base runners. And Caden Carter doing such a great job coming all the way around to score. But DeSantiago just putting the ball in play. The old two-way player doing the job that he was called to do.
And, you know, sometimes that's the least you could do. All right, there is now, it's Sam Pitts. He started on the mound, and now he gets a turn at the dish. That one grounded again over to Wheeler. And he'll throw out Pitts to end the 8th. We're headed to the 9th here in St. Joe. 2 home in the inning on the DeSantiago single. And the Mustangs are 3 outs away from a win over the Alumni. You're watching St. Joseph Mustangs baseball here on YouTube. Top 9 here at Phil Welch, and the Mustangs are 3 outs away from a win over the Alumni. And it's Dom Felix to close it out here in the 9th. The first pitch swung on and popped up into foul territory. Over is everyone, and it bounces out of play for strike 1.
Andrew Clark was given a little bit of a chase to it, but McCollum, one of the only position players actually out on the field right now, is over there to give him some support. Just a big swing and a hack there. Just played it out of play for Dade Wheeler.
Owen won the count on Wheeler. Now 0-2 from Felix. The 0-2 to Wheeler. Line into the gap and caught. Great catch there. Wheeler hit it on the nose, but it's reeled in for out number 1. Now 2 outs away from an Alumni game win for the Mustangs. As we had a trivia question bottom of the 8th, we're going to finish it out with some fun. What unusual material was used for the sound of the Evil Queen's transformation into the witch from the classic animated Snow White movie 1937? And it indeed was, for all those guessing, a glove rubbing up against a leather surface.
Wow, interesting. A very interesting answer it was, and I guessed the sandpaper on a brick, but I like that question. That's good. You got to get the brain thinking. That's not one that you can really. It's not one that most people just have an answer outright. So I like that. It's stumping me all night long.
Now Cole Slabowski ahead 2-0. Now ahead 3-1. Felix working fast, almost Savannah Banana style, trying to get that 8-second strikeout. Instead, it's the 8-second walk, as it's a 1-out walk to Slabowski. Now it'll bring up Jared Hawkins. First time we've seen him tonight. With a runner on first and 1 away here, top of the 9th. 9-3, Mustangs lead the Alumni. Alumni had the lead, but it only lasted 5 batters for a Truman Bodenhausen 2-run single. The Mustangs were off and running.
They took control pretty fast in this game. I mean, slow starts from nights in the past this week on Wednesday and Thursday, but yesterday we saw them come out right out of the gates, get the game going. And same thing with Bodenhausen, you know, getting those base runners on and just trusting the guys next to you in the lineup. And they've been doing such a good job staying confident and comfortable. The 2 C's that these Mustangs have really been doing, I'd say in the first couple of innings these last 2 games.
Now the 2-1 rip is fouled away, 2-2. As we get a look at the Mustangs' future schedule next week, another 4-game homestand after their first road trip of the year. They play Tuesday the 10th at Sedalia before 4 home games against Chillicothe and the Kansas City Monarchs Wednesday and Thursday, both starting at 6:30. As Felix will get the strikeout looking. Great pitch there from Felix as Slabowski moves up to second. But Hawkins goes down looking for the 2nd out, and now the Mustangs are 1 out away. So now brings up TJ Daly. But back to the Mustang schedule. So next Wednesday against Chillicothe, the next Thursday against the Kansas City Monarchs, both 6:30 first pitches. And then next Friday and Saturday, they welcome to town the first time the Carroll Merchants and then the Sedalia Bombers. So 3 out of the 4 games next week are Mink League matchups here at Phil Welch.
Three tough games. I mean, they've had their way against Jefferson City. They'll see Chillicothe, but 2 new opponents since Sedalia and Carroll. They play Sedalia twice next week. That'll be a friendly scene both times, and they'll face Chillicothe, but first time seeing the Carroll Merchants.
That one goes right through the wickets of Jace Johnson and allows Slabowski to move up to 3rd now. What a night it's been tonight. Been so much fun, a lot of fun chuckles to be had. Great baseball, just a great atmosphere. Plenty of people came out tonight. Fans are just wonderful. The guests that walk through the gates here at Phil Welch. You know, you never know what the day may have held, but it seems like your day can always turn around watching Mustang baseball. Seeing them play. As that one grounded over to Andrew Clark at first. He'll toss to Dom Felix. And that'll do it for the 2025 St. Joseph Alumni game. It is your St. Joseph Mustangs getting the win. 9-3 over the Mustangs Alumni. Big highlights, Truman Bodenhausen 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Trevor McCollum also had an RBI single. Jack Mosh was 2 for 4. Braden Lukehart 2 for 3, scoring a pair of runs. Pitching continued to dominate. And just an overall fun night and a fun experience.
It really was, Truman. Just a different kind of atmosphere. I mean, those late half innings, got to see some pitchers coming to bat, some pitchers getting to go play the field. And it almost just kind of felt like an exhibition game against some of your friends back at home, just on like a travel ball or just even just a fun, friendly league play. And you love to see it. And now look at this. You don't get to see this much in Mink League. Players are lining up, giving high fives and hugs. Mustangs Nation, both sides are Mustangs. And you really just love to see that. All the fun, atmosphere. Like you mentioned, the fans, I mean, they made it happen tonight. You know, they really got into these games, and they are cheering on both sides at the same time. You know, it's one of those games where it's like, doesn't matter both ways. You just love to see some of your favorites from the past. And now this team on the Mustangs this year in 2025 improved to a record of 6-1. Still 3-0 in the Mink, looking to improve on that next week, like you mentioned, Truman. 3 games in the Mink League of Play. But you mentioned Truman Bodenhausen. 1 for 3, 3 RBIs for him and a stolen base. He just keeps on improving on this amazing season started out from the Mustangs. And the pitching, again, coming in, putting in some big work. Pitts, 3 innings on 4 strikeouts, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. And then lights out from Caden Carter to Santiago and Coy. Carter went 2 innings pitched, just 1 hit, no runs. De Santiago just went into 1, but had an amazing electric inning with 2 strikeouts. Just faced 4 batters, but no runs as well. And Chris Coy just 1 1/3 from him. 8 batters on 2 strikeouts, 1 hit and 1 run, and
did strike out his uncle, so he has that
did strike
over
out
him.
the uncle. That was probably my favorite moment of tonight, getting to see the 2 Coys go after it with each other, and just a cool atmosphere nonetheless. What do you say, Truman? I mean, just a fun game.
Fun game, taking a picture here after the game is over. You know, again, just celebrating what this means. You know, it's such a special to see the alumni come back out here and see the foundation that they built. Again, just continue to come to fruition. So many of these guys, you know, they were there, you know, when they were just winning those first couple Mink League championships, and now 9 championships deep. It's just special for these guys to come back and see that the program and the team they left, the organization, the guests, the fans that they left, continue to get brought joy.
I love it. You know, this season has been such a good start. A lot of pressure on these guys in the Mink League to go back and do it again. You know, 9 times. They won it last year. They're looking for 10 this year. And I'd say with a 6-1 record and a perfect record in the Mink, Truman, they are on a great catapult on their way jumping into the Mink. And just a good way to start their season so far. You know, they're playing the baseball the right way. Tonight, just keeping those runners on base, producing some nice hits. We saw some more explosive hits tonight, I feel like, from guys like we haven't seen, like Gundelfinger with that double into right field. I mean, he really drove that ball far, and you just love to see these guys who haven't really blossomed yet, who you are starting to see that seed still being watered, and it's starting to grow some sprouts. And this Mustangs lineup really, you know, they just have those types of players that have some room to grow, but I feel like everyone on this team is starting to grow with some more water.
But that'll do it here tonight from Phil Welch. Your 2025 Mustangs get it done over the Alumni, 9-3. Caden Carter gets his first win. Kyle Jackson takes the loss. Truman Bodenhausen, your player of the game, 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a stolen base and a 9-3 winner. For my partner Jackson Phelps, I've been Truman Griesel. We say so long from Phil Welch. All Mustangs live streams are archived on the YouTube app or youtube.com, and going to St. Joseph Mustangs, clicking into the live tab. Mustangs will take their first road trip next Tuesday to Sedalia, but we'll be back on the air next Wednesday. 6:30 first pitch between your Mustangs and the Chillicothe